tomorrow?
Oh, heck yeah.
You got the official one.
Yes.
When are you going to wear it?
I'm going to wear it when I get home.
The Pro Shop at Gillette Stadium is currently packed with Patriots fans eagerly scooping up championship gear to commemorate yesterday's big win.
I can't even explain it right now. You know, it was awesome.
It makes me almost want to cry.
Some fans are already gearing up for Tuesday's celebratory parade in Beantown,
Yes, I'm actually going to think about taking my kids out of school.
while others are still recovering from last night.
I was so upset, and then I don't know, I had yells from downstairs saying, what are you doing? Get up.
Yeah.
They won. And I could not believe it.
But regardless of where these fans plan to wear their new gear, they all have one thing in common.
Tom Brady's the best, bottom line, you know. The Patriots are the best, so proud to be a fan.
So that's an early morning package. Those people are of them, but that young person there who fell asleep is an avid. I can't compute that. You're avid enough to go to the gift shop at Foxborough at 5 a.m., but you didn't stay up. You went to.
Listen, my parents
that?
had a Super Bowl party, and every member of that party left when Steve Gostkowski missed the extra point.
Get out of here.
Totally, Uncle Mike, a disgrace. Auntie Joan, a disgrace. Just get out of my face.
You want to go down the whole list?
We don't have to do that.
Was it a small party?
It was only 5 people, but they all left. Just pathetic.
Oh my goodness. Well, I will admit that the group that I was with got very distracted. You know, the women are chirping blah, 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 about things that have nothing to do with the ball game, which is enough to, you know, you just figuratively, of course, want to put a pillow over their heads, and or just, you know. And I was visualizing. This is next time next time the Super Bowl is on, I'm going to host a party, and there'll be signage in the actual TV room proper. No other chatter, and put a sign in another room. Other chatter here. It's just, really? You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
Hello?
Okay.
There's a purposefulness to this particular event. Anyway. Tom Brady, Roger Goodell, for the most part, not the red meat that a lot of Patriots fans were looking for, to Tom Brady's credit.
You knew he was going to be classy. You knew he was going to take the high road. I thought, as we discussed just before we came on, there was a little bit of rage you could see in his eyes, but he's so good at bottling everything up, mental toughness, being positive, all of that. He just, you know, he let it out a little bit, nothing that would get us talking, but just a little bit to show that the fire is there. And of course, you see that commercial he came out with they released it late last night, the Shields MRI commercial.
No, I missed that.
Little dig at Roger. They say, hey, Tom, you know, you need a bigger locker for your 5th ring. And he goes, Roger that. So a little bit of but you knew ultimately he was going to take the high road and be classy. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded.
Mr. Kraft, you know, I thought he was going to, he did enough.
Yep.
He did enough. He gave the fans a little bit of what they wanted.
That's right.
He does not end up being the story, though. He has a right, by the way, to say what he wanted to say. I thought everything, for the most part, was pretty good. I just think that over the course of the year, obviously this was a motivating factor. What do you think? Do you think it's more of a motivating factor for the fans than it was for the team? Actually,
It was probably more something that the fans thought about than the team.
Yeah.
But don't tell me this didn't factor into Tom Brady's motivation. I'm not saying it added motivation, because this man is a motivated man.
Right.
So I don't think it added motivation. I asked him the other day. I didn't ask him if it added motivation. Did it factor into his motivation? There's no way he didn't think about this. There's no way this.
You asked him that.
Oh yeah, it was a long, epic question actually, but.
Why didn't you bring it?
The
I thought you would bring it.
Sorry. The diction, though, wasn't did it add. It was did it factor in. This is a man who...
And his answer was?
He just kind of... You have to hear the question to really grab. I asked him if he was going to howl at the moon. But he basically said, you know, this I'm positive or whatever, you know, this is something that I'm motivated for my teammates, not for anything personal.
By the way, you're actually pretty well known for the out-of-the-box question at these press conferences.
Listen, interviews are about the answer, not the question. But if they're not going to answer your question, then it becomes about the question, in my mind, if you want something interesting to put on TV. So I try to make the questions interesting. If I know they're not going to, I figured Tom Brady wasn't going to answer it.
I actually was watching an earlier pregame segment on Fox where Coach Belichick responded very poorly and miserably to a question. And then I realized it was your question that Fox used. Did you watch the pregame?
No, I didn't see that.
Did you ask him about some fumble at some point? The
butt fumble.
The theory of the butt fumble.
Yeah, that was the one. He didn't love that one.
He didn't like that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
You do.
People here, though, enjoyed it, even though I got crushed.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You got crushed in the press conference.
Well, he crushed me that day.
He did.
But I came back the next week with some good stuff. So
yeah. What was
okay.
what was the ultimate? You had a big one this year that you asked him.
The people like the one about the Christmas song when I showed him the song, and then I came back with the Michael Floyd DUI question.
Yeah.
They thought that was a nice strategy I used.
What's your rap with the coach after your? I mean, certainly knows who you are.
Yeah, I would hope that he appreciates my
work,
my
thought.
My innovative way of trying to ask questions, because I have a job to do, and my job is to make his press conferences interesting. And if he's going to just mumble and bumble, then I have to do something that makes it so I can. The word choice for my questions is a difference.
Rest of the press reaction to the way you work?
I'm sure there's some that think I'm a tool, but I don't care. I know what I'm doing. I'm not worried about what they think. I know what I'm doing. And I'm nice to everybody. I think they think I'm a nice guy.
You're a very pleasant guy.
But it's just, I'm sure some of them don't agree because, listen, those are some of the writers. They have their own thing. What I'm trying to do is television. So talking about X's and O's and the depth along the defensive line does nothing for me. Nobody wants that. So I have to do other things. I can talk. You want to talk about X's and O's and defensive breakdowns? I'll do that, but that's not interesting TV in my mind. But back to what we were talking about. This is a man, Tom Brady, who he held a grudge for being the 6th-round pick. For 17 years, that chip has been on his shoulder. He used to throw Nintendo controllers off the wall when he'd lose in Madden his rookie year at his house in Franklin, the little apartment or whatever. So don't tell me that none of this factored in to any of his motivation, that the people, as I said in the question, threw trash at his name. Don't tell me that none of that factors in. It did.
I can ask this question. Patriots fans shouldn't be, because you should be enjoying the moment. But when does this all end next?
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would puke. I mean, can you imagine?
I'm not awful with heights, but I don't love heights.
Speaking of heights, professional sports franchises, can't get much higher than this.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to end soon. Or this is going to end someday.
Yeah.
When?
This will end.
Kevin just said thank you.
You kind of get the sense that based on age, based on how long they've been around, that Brady, Belichick, and Robert Kraft are all kind of on a similar timeline. 3 to 5 years. How much? It feels like in 3 to 5 years they'll all kind of be at that age.
Does Brady have a 5-year extension?
Well, there was a report from Ian Rappaport yesterday of the NFL Network that they were going to extend him and that they think he could play 3 to 5 years. There wasn't a specific number on the amount of years on said extension.
The mercenary disposition of the Patriots is what's kept them in this place. I mean, they love their winners in the present, but they have no problem discharging athletes and replacing athletes. Who says what to Tom Brady when the game is over? Who gets it first, Tom Brady or the Patriot organization?
Are you saying, are they going to get rid of Tom Brady?
When is it like Tom?
Well, I would assume
you got to call it a day.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Here's what I will say: Robert Kraft will have a say in this. This is not a situation where Bill can just go cut ties. Robert Kraft will have a say if Bill is thinking about going in a different direction. I think they're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. If Brady's going to play 3 or 5 more years, they're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not going to stick around that long. What will happen, though, I don't know the answer to who will leave first. how they'll go down, when this all ends. What will happen, though, is Brady will leave or Belichick will leave, and then it'll start to slowly erode. I don't think they'll just fall off a cliff. It will slowly erode, and, you know, Josh will take over or whatever. They'll be good. They'll compete. They'll be right there.
They'll be normal.
They'll be normal. They'll slowly come back to the pack.
Brady, how many, I only got a minute. I only had 10 seconds. How long does he play?
3 more years,
For sure.
for sure.
All right. Well, he'll be having to face your questions at the press conference, and so will Bill for the time being. Great work, man. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thanks.
Final word when we come back.